Hello again from my front porch. Today, May 1st, 2024, I get to celebrate my 5-year anniversary with Baker Construction. That's right, 5 years with the nation's largest concrete construction company. And I am so proud to be able to still have my Baker hard hat on and be part of this fantastic family. Now the Baker organization, it started, well, back in 1968. It was founded 1 year after I was by a couple of brothers in Ohio. And it just started as a little, small little company like so many other local small construction companies begin, and it just exploded from there. Dan Baker went on to lead this company to becoming, as I said, the nation's largest concrete construction company by a long shot. And that meant that it went through some transition times. They dabbled with this and that didn't work. So then they focused over here and did some really good business strategy and just guided the company through those times, including the times in the mid 2000s, 2007, 2008 timeframe especially, when the economy just absolutely tanked. I remember I was working at Principal at the time, and Principal had an across the board 10% staff reduction. And every department was instructed to see where they could downsize, try to identify at least one member, or maybe it was a percentage of their organization that they could let go. Fortunately, I was okay, because on our team in that I was on at Principal at the time, we actually, just prior to those things happening, we had an opening on the team that we then opted not to fill, and we just reshuffled what everyone was doing and just accommodated that way. And so we were okay, but people still also took a pay reduction too, and how much your reduction was, how big your reduction was, the percentage, depending on how much you made. The more money you made, the bigger the percentage of your reduction in salary was. I believe I took a 10% reduction in salary, if memory serves. And people would be like, "Oh, well, you can't tolerate that." And I'm like, dude, I'm hearing other people in my field, in the training field, at other companies who are being completely kicked out the door. They're being like, their whole training program is being shut down, and I am still making 90%. I'm still employed making it, so I'm good. I'm good. So it was a tough time. I remember those years very well, but we weathered through it, and so did Baker. Baker weathered through it as well. Now, the belt got tight. There were some things that got jettisoned during that time frame, but Dan and his leadership team did a fantastic job of seeing Baker through that. Fast forward to 2020, COVID hits. Very familiar with it, because by that point I was at Baker and launching training initiatives. And once again, a lot of companies felt the pinch of that financially. Entire companies laying off their entire pool of employees, and certainly others in my training profession being let go, being downsized out. But I was there, witnessing it firsthand, and Baker took a very different approach at that point in time. They said, no, we will not make the mistake of jettisoning training during this belt tightening time. We can do this. We have weathered storms like this before. We will weather this one again, and we will do so intelligently. We will continue to look to what are we going to do for improving the knowledge and skill of our coworkers, of our workforce. And that, in fact, my team, as it existed at that point in time, my team doubled in size during COVID. So, that's an illustration of the commitment that Baker has made to, and the investment Baker has made over the years in trying to support the learning and development needs of its coworker base. Now, coworkers is what we don't have employees at Baker. We don't have white collar. We don't have blue collar. We have coworkers and gray collar. That, try to, yes, different people are higher up on the food chain organizationally. Yes, people have fancier titles than some others, but ultimately the view at Baker is we all are part of one organization to achieve a goal, and different people have a different job in that organization. And your job is just as important as your job. Your job is just as important as your job, and vice versa. That everybody plays a part in that. Now, I will say when I started with Baker, Baker was a little more siloed, as a lot of large corporate entities. Principal was exactly the same way, in that it had different business units that operated almost independently, not quite so much. But at Baker, really the silos were, it was almost like they were franchises using the Baker name and imagery, but still operating as independent companies regionally around the country. And so there was a little bit of a struggle in the sense of trying to create a sense of corporate identity, or certainly my challenge of creating training programs across the organization. A lot of pushback from that, a lot of resistance from different, some that would embrace things and some that would not embrace those things. And so then there'd be this tug of war that would happen. Well, now fast forward to today, and the company continues to evolve, continues to improve, continues to establish a solid foundation, and now we are well on the track of the one Baker mentality. Carl Watson, our CEO, has it's not even an option anymore. It's just this is reality. We are one Baker. And redefining where some of the lines are, reshuffling where some people are. Some of the people who are part of my team have been shuffled into different parts of the company now. Some of the focus areas of what I do have evolved from what they were when I started, and then what they kind of became based on reality of situations. And now with the One Baker approach, what they're exploding back into, even some things that we hadn't even talked about before, but are things that are, it's all very exciting. It's overwhelming somewhat. There have been some nights where I haven't got a lot of sleep because I've been working on stuff or putting things together. There's stress involved, yes, but it's good stress from my vantage point, because it's all stuff that I enjoy. It feeds to my passion. I feel like I am now at this stage, 5 years in, that I am now starting to be able to wrap my hands around what it is that I was hired to do. I can actually see that we can make progress in these areas, and that the company is wanting to go those directions, and that's so exciting, so exciting. And I am just through. I know this seems like a big Baker commercial, and I suppose it kind of is. I don't mind at all. Some people say, "Oh, you're just trying to kiss up because you're trying." No, it's not at all. It's not. I mean, if it has that effect, okay. but no, I'm being genuine and honest. There are a lot of people who sadly complain about their jobs. They see it as a chore that they have to endure, something that they have to do in order to make money to pay the bills. And trust me, I like earning money. I like being able to pay the bills, yes. But my point is, I get to do what I love. I get to do what fuels my inner fire, what fuels my passion. I'm not driven by the money. Again, I like the money, and without the money, it makes it hard to have the front porch, and stuff like that. But I'm not driven by that. I'm not driven by the title. I'm not driven by the prestige. That's not the way I'm wired. I blame my parents for that. I grew up with a mom who was a nurse's aide at a nursing home for 40-some years, and a dad who was a police officer when I was growing up. Two basically volunteer professions with a paycheck, and I learned it so well that I went on to become a journalist and a school teacher. Yeah, you learn that well, Paul. But still, in addition to that dynamic, what I learned from my parents growing up was you do a job because you care about it. You fill a role because you care about the people you are serving. And that's how you view what you're doing. I know that makes me different than a lot of people. I don't care. I don't mind. In fact, I've come to embrace that. The reality is, it's how I'm wired to look at how can I help and support the people that I'm here to serve. Doesn't matter what my title is, doesn't matter what my job description says. That's why I'm here at anywhere that I'm at. And at Baker, not only do I get to embrace that, but they fuel that, they encourage that. And I have a new leader now as well with the reshuffling. For most of my time at Baker, I worked for a guy named David Bolter, who is executive vice president. With the reshuffling, he's now president of the Eastern Industrial part of the company now. And a lady named Carrie Smith, no relation, is now my leader. Carrie had been the leader of what was our Southeast region. So Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, any of the work we were doing down in that area, that she was the leader over that part of the company. And now she's shifted over into what we now call talent development. Talent development, as defined by Baker, being a beautifully created entity that allows for symbiotic collaboration between training, HR, recruiting, and the acquisition of new companies. Bringing some of that stuff in, but allowing a much tighter connection between our areas. See, unlike a lot of companies, training is not under HR at Baker, and I'm glad for that too. I love my HR friends. My HR is a very vital, important thing, but HR and training people are two very different worlds. And when training is put under HR, my experience 100% of the time has been it stifles and kills the creativity of training. And it turns training into simply delivering compliance stuff, or just here's what's going on with new system upgrades, blah, 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 blah. And there's no other life to that training program. So I'm not a fan of training being under HR. However, for HR and training to connect and collaborate, that's crucial to the success of an organization and to the coworkers within it. So I'm excited that Carrie has stepped into this role that didn't exist before at Baker, and has taken that on and has now, that's a lot that she's got to wrap her arms around. No question about it. It's a daunting task that she has, but I'm excited for the potential of what can grow out of this. We're in that growth, the change point, where the analogy I've been using is the upset apple cart. Traditionally we talk about people upsetting your apple cart as a negative. Oh, you get your apple cart upset and it's a disaster. Everything's messed up. Blah blah blah. And that is true. That it is a symbol of how dramatically something can change. You're going down the road with your cart full of apples, and all of a sudden, boom, it's knocked over. Oh, now, wow, everything's dead. But I've been taking that analogy a slightly different direction, because when you overturn an apple cart, in this case, I think we've overturned it for good reasons. When you overturn an apple cart, all those apples go every direction. And that's kind of the way it feels at Baker right now. That there's a lot of activity going on, and things are going in lots of different directions, but it's all really energized. It's really positive. And as much as possible, we're getting our arms around things that interconnect, that interrelate to each other, and we're starting to address areas where we can reduce duplicity. We can stop reinventing the wheel everywhere, all across here, and we can instead be smarter and more intelligent, more efficient, more effective in what we're doing, more strategic overall. And so this is exciting times at Baker. And I am absolutely thrilled to today be celebrating not only my 5th year anniversary with the company, but to be at the company at this crucial pivot point as everything is evolving, everything is improving. And we have a goal that by 2030, Baker wants to be twice as big as it is now. It's already a $2.5 billion a year company. Baker wants to double in size. And I tell you what, those kind of goals sound astoundingly aggressive and overwhelming, but if we get our arms wrapped around this one Baker mentality and we pull all these pieces together that we're working on pulling together right now, I totally believe we can do it. We can pull this off like that because it is the nation's largest concrete construction company, incredible reputation, has been able to do some dramatic things. We've built sky rises, we've built stadiums, we've built office complexes, we've built, I mean, you go down to, one of my favorite is down to Fort Lauderdale. You go to see the Hard Rock Hotel, the big guitar-shaped hotel thing. Hello, we helped build that, yeah. So you see those kind of things, and I see pictures of those things. I hear people talking about those things, and my chest fills with pride. I was not on the job site. I was not swinging a hammer. I was not pouring concrete. And yet I am proud because I have this name on my shirt, on my business card, on my hard hat. And that name says quality. That name says professionalism. That name says we get the job done. As it says here on the side of our hard hats, that name says Baker stands for people, honor, and grit. And those three things have guided Baker 50 plus years and will continue to guide us for the next 50 plus more as the company continues to go. And well, for as long as possible, I plan to be along for that journey. This is exciting. It really is. And so happy anniversary to me at Baker. And I suppose my sympathies maybe to some Baker that I'm still here. I'm kidding. But seriously, I love the people that I get to work with. I adore the people I get to collaborate with. Not just people on my team, but the extended subject matter expert, and the individuals. I have nothing but the highest level of respect for the individuals in leadership above me. These are individuals who, man, they know their stuff. And Carrie herself, and again, I'm not just saying this because she's my leader now, but Carrie, she's sharp. She's very impressive. She sees detail in things. She spots patterns in things. She has just a clear mind, a wise, clear mind. And when we're having conversations about whatever, she's able to, she asks the right questions. She pokes the right things. She probes in the right, okay, this area over here is a little squishy. We need to firm this up, and that might escape myself or others, but she spots it. And boom, okay. And because of that, we're able to address that deal. So I'm really excited and energized, in case you couldn't tell, about where this path goes. So happy anniversary, Paul. Baker, thank you so much for keeping me around this long, and let's make it, let's revisit this again in 5 more years. And with that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.